Welcome back to OpenLine. We are talking about major changes to the amount of money people will be receiving for food stamps beginning this month as a result of COVID money ending and those benefits going back to what they were prior to COVID, basically. And there's some major changes. We have with us Allison Jones, the Legal Aid Society, joining us via Zoom. We have several calls, so I just want to go through as many as we can. Let's go to Donna. Hello, Donna?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I was telling, I had the same question as pretty much the first gentleman. We're bringing people over here. We're giving them housing. We're giving them food stamps, and they don't pay no taxes. We worked our whole life to pay taxes. I did. I'm on SSEI now. I have them, as the food stamp officer says, I have 3 cents left out of my check after I pay my bills. I live in Robertson County. My food stamps will go down to $23 this month. How can I live as a heart patient, a lung patient, a diabetic on $23 a month? You can't even walk in the store and buy a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread for $23 a month, pretty much.
What did you get last month?
$270-something.
And it's going to go down to $23?
Yeah.
My goodness.
And I have 3 cents left over after I pay all my bills. And I live in an RV. I had to move out of Nashville, where I growed up. And I live in Nashville, and I live in Robertson County on the Red River in an RV now.
All right. I think you're the concern. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about here. Let's have Allison see if there's something here. What do you recommend?
Right. Well, first let me just say that I certainly don't expect that you can meet your food needs on $23 a month. We're as an attorney, my hands are a little bit tied in terms of the direct assistance I can provide. I can't change the formula that the government uses to determine how much somebody's eligible for. But we can sometimes catch things that the department may have missed or not considered. One thing for somebody who's on disability, like you mentioned you are, those folks are allowed to submit medical bills to the department and have those medical bills considered, and those can be factored in and used to increase your monthly food stamp amount. This is another one of those verification request issues where it can sometimes be hard to get that processed depending on which county office you're working with. If you have some unpaid medical bills that insurance doesn't cover, and that can include the cost of your transportation, mileage, and going to doctor's appointments, that kind of thing. It's not just your co-payments or your deductible or your premiums, although all of those do count. So any of those medical expenses, you might want to make DHS aware of those, make sure that they're including those when they calculate your monthly benefits. And if you want legal aid to do a double check to make sure that they've arrived at the right amount, we can always do that.
But that's the essence of what we're talking about, and the concern that you have is that here's somebody who is getting, she said $270 a month, and now it's going to go down to $23 a month. And she already had to leave Nashville, and now she's wondering what in the world is she going to do?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we try in our benefits practice at Legal Aid to kind of look at the full scope of what might be available to folks who are struggling, folks like the caller who just have 3 cents left at the end of the month and have already trimmed their expenses as far as they can go. If someone like that were to call me and I were to look at their situation, I'd certainly be looking at those medical expenses for food stamps, but I'd also be looking at are there other programs? Are there other ways that we can free up some disposable income to have at the end of the month? If that's getting her some help paying her medical bills or things like that.
All right. Thank you, Donna, for calling in. Let's go to Esther. Hello, Esther.
Yes.
Go right ahead. You're going to have to turn down your TV.
Yes,
Everyone
I'm here.
turn down your TV, okay? And then, Esther, tell us what's on your mind. Go ahead, Esther.
I was just wondering. I heard that there's still a lot of money left over from the American Rescue Plan, and I was just wondering if anyone's heard what they may be going to do with that money.
Okay, I don't know. What have you, Allison? What do you know about that?
Well, I'm not aware of anything that's food stamp related specifically. I am aware for the Families First program that we talked about earlier. There in December, the department did issue a one-time cash payment to certain program participants. That was spending down some of the money that they received, about $12 million in emergency pandemic benefits for that particular program. So and I think there's going to be more rolling out. But that won't be kind of generally available to the food stamp client population. So I'm not sure what else is available. There may be some things out there that I'm not aware of, but I'm certainly not expecting that there's going to be extra food benefits for most of the SNAP participants in Tennessee. There may be, there is another pandemic-related nutrition program for school-age children that some viewers may be familiar with. If they've got kids who had schools closed due to COVID over the last 2 years, or if they had to go remote, called Pandemic EBT. And that kind of operates like food stamps, but it's issued exclusively to students who missed school days, and as a consequence were not able to access their free or reduced price school meals. Now, there has been money allocated for that program, but that program has not been operationalized for the 2021-2022 school year in Tennessee. So parents of school-age kids who may see their kids' schools go virtual or close for COVID-related reasons, or if you have a child who has to quarantine or who becomes ill, they may be eligible for those PEBT nutrition benefits over the next few months.
Okay.
But again, that's not the general food stamp population.
Right.
That's a specific group of beneficiaries.
There has been some talk about stockpiling money within the state, and I don't know enough to say anything on that now. But all right, Esther, thank you for that, and I hope what Allison said helps there. Let's go to a bunch of other calls here. Let's go to Anthony. Hello, Anthony.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the call. Years ago, right before the COVID, leading out to friends of mine, senior citizens, church members, and all. Even myself went down to apply for food stamps, Metro Action, and we barely got $30. These are senior citizens. Now, how much you think senior citizens can live off of $30 a month? And people have worked all their lives, go down now. That is a barely one-day service. That's embarrassing. A senior citizens live. We worked all our lives to get this. Now, Metro Action should know better than this, even legal aid, and they know they've heard these complaints before. So I just gave up on going down there, going to the government, but my parents never trusted anyway, and just go to Catholic Charities and other these organizations. just to survive and just cut down on food insecurities and just go down on a major diet and just depend on the Lord, because this is embarrassing, humiliating. And you go through all this paper funding and bring all 4 sources, Social Security, all income and all the forms necessary, and this is what you end up. And I know legal aid have heard these complaints before, and they choose not to service and do anything about it. Thank you.
Anthony, thank you for your call. So there's somebody who's just frustrated. That's the nicest word I could use, with the fact he went down there, filled out all this paperwork, he worked all his life, and he's getting $30. And he's saying, I'm not even going to bother with it anymore. It's humiliating.
Yep.
Well, and
well, he said it, better than I could. And it's something I hear from clients all the time, particularly before COVID, when folks weren't getting those extra benefits. And I know that I'm going to hear it again starting this month. It's as he said, it's a huge administrative burden to apply. These are folks who have paid their dues, who have worked hard, who are struggling later in life. And a lot of times they're eligible for only a really small amount. And there's not, that's if there are medical bills or medical expenses that we can bring into the calculation to boost that benefit. We love to be of service in that way. In terms of how the benefits are calculated, how that minimum is set, there's certainly opportunities for folks who are frustrated with how the program is structured to reach out to their elected representatives and share that concern. Because those are the folks that are in a position to change it.
Yeah, who is actually responsible? Because you heard Anthony, he's upset with Metro Action Commission. He thinks what they have done is insulting, and he's upset with legal aid. He thinks you guys basically should know better. But the anger, the frustration should be directed at the people that are writing the laws, right? They're the ones that can change all of this.
Right. So, there's the entity that administers the program in Tennessee is the Department of Human Services. So I can't speak to what Metro Action Commission, how they would be intersecting with that, apart from maybe helping somebody apply with the department. But a lot of the laws are set, there are some state level policy choices that are made. And state level elected representatives could have some input and impact on those state level decisions. Food stamps is a very federally driven program, though, so a lot of the big decisions are made in Washington through the passage of the Farm Bill. And so our federal elected officials, our congressmen and senators, are the folks that would be weighing in on that legislation.
Okay. All right. We'll take a break. Ronnie, others, hold on the line. Take a break. Be back right after this.